2018 BMW 2 Series. It's a great looking car, isn't it? You're probably wondering, haven't you already reviewed this car? And yes, you'd be correct. However, this is the updated 2018 LCI version, and this car has 4 cylinders as opposed to 3, because I tested out the 218i last time. Anyway, today I will show you around the exterior, interior, and finally take you for a leisurely drive around Newcastle. So without further ado, let's start this review. Since I've already filmed and reviewed a BMW 2 Series, it's given me some time to further analyze and look into this car. One of the things that really stands out to me is the outside aesthetics of this car. I think the decades that pass by, people will realize that the F22 generation BMW 2 Series was a fantastically designed car. For example, you've got this subtle shoulder line that runs from the back of the car all the way to the front with these grooves and curves. Once you get to the front end, you can see that design element goes full circle and it splits the car into its top and bottom half. I find this really interesting, and it's something when you see it you can't unsee. As for the model variant that I'm reviewing, it's the 2018 218D M Sport Nav with the 2-litre diesel engine currently pushing 147 brake horsepower and 236 pounds-foot of torque, all to the rear wheels. This car will top out at 132 miles per hour and it will take about 7.9 seconds to reach at 60 miles per hour. This means this car is a whole second quicker to 60 than the 218i. That's something to consider if you are stuck between deciding with a petrol or a diesel car. I noticed I didn't mention what the dimensions were like in the previous review, so given the opportunity, I may as well do it now. This car here is about a foot shorter than the 3 Series and about a foot and a half shorter than the 5 Series. And finally, it's tighter than both cars. So if you thought this car was big, then you'd be kind of wrong. Prices for a similar car to this 2018 model start from 15 to 16 grand if you want a good one, and car tax for the year will cost you £165 as it emits 111 grams per kilometre of CO2. This isn't that bad going, given the BMW M2's car tax is a whopping £520 a year. Yeah, quite hefty. As for the boot, the BMW 2 Series comes with 390 litres of space. You also get things like some tethering points, 12-volt socket, and even fold down rear seats. The only compromise to the boot is that it has a narrow opening, so it's a bit of a pain to put and take out items, but other than that, it's fairly decent. Now let's test out the rear seat space, and there's only 2 seats in the back of there, so it's going to be tight, but as tradition, let me get in the back and see what it's like. So give me 2 seconds. And here we are. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I mean, I could sit in the back of it for like a couple hours before I start feeling very claustrophobic. But yeah, I would give it probably a 5 out of 10. Just standard, really. The 2018 218D's interior features a few subtle upgrades over the pre-facelift, the most notable of which is this new white and black instrument cluster. You also get a new infotainment system which is quite clear and easy to use. You've probably noticed the interior of this car doesn't look stock, and yes, you'd be correct. Jack, the owner of this car, bought it with some mods already on it. For example, you've got some carbon fibre inserts on the steering wheel, door cards, center console, and this Alcantara lining on the dash, all of which I would say look okay, but I think I prefer the gloss black original finish. One of my favorite elements in the BMW 2 Series is just below the steering wheel, and it's this soft knee pad right here. So let's say you went on a track day to throw your car around some corners, your knees are going to be nice and comfortable. It's a great invention by BMW. Another feature I quite like in the BMW 2 Series is this little gear selector right here. Let's say you're in sport mode and you turn your car off, it just automatically slides back over to the right and back into park. Quite convenient and quite useful. The one letdown in this interior is the volume knob. No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not, got an issue with it. It's just the fact that BMW, when it switched it over to right hand drive, it switched over the center console, all the buttons right here, apart from the location of the volume knob. On left-hand drive cars, it's on this side, and you'd think on right-hand drive cars it would be on this side. However, it isn't. Cars got in, but honestly, it kind of pecks with me, and yeah, it's quite frustrating. Anyway, I think I've spoken enough. Let's finally take this car for a drive. Okay, now let's go for a drive in the 2018 BMW 2 Series. And first off, I could already feel that it's a very tight car. The steering wheel is nice and big as well. It's nice and chunky. I did kind of miss driving this car since I drove the 218i a couple of months ago. I didn't mention one thing in my main half of the review. This car does have these like self-leveling headlights. I have got a clip of it. It does look super cool. And at night, Jack did say it does kind of like follow the path of the road. Jack also does work at Virtue, and he did manage to swipe up this car at a bargain. I'm not going to mention the price so you guys don't get jealous. But the usual price of this car, well, since when it was last listed, was about anything between 17, 18 grand, and the price he got it at was, oh my god, he got it at a massive discount, and you know, congrats to him. He did drive a Mini Clubman before this, and he does say this car feels much slower than his Clubman, and rightly so. It does have quite a significant amount of less horsepower. Weird way to say it. But I know the route that I'm driving today, so I could utilize the 2 Series. We are just about to go on the dual carriageway. I'm going to whack it into comfort mode for the time being. Actually, no, let's go to sport and let's have the gearbox in manual mode. I am quite a big fan of this new instrument pinnacle that we've got. It's white and black and it's so crisp and clear. There's nothing wrong with the previous generation, sorry, not previous generation, the pre-facelift dials. These ones, they just look a little bit more modern and a little bit clearer. But I've got to say, it's a very stable car. It's very competent, and it's just mounted to the ground. It's very low. I've just come out of driving a Peugeot 208, and a Suzuki Swift right in front of us, nearly just about to crash into an A-Class because he can't drive. But yeah, this is a very composed car. It's very low to the ground. Funnily enough, the passenger seat, Jack just sat it right now, and it's, what, is it much lower than the driver's side? But yeah, on the motorway. Hell. This is how they drive in Newcastle then? What? Me. What is going on? We'll try. This, I've got to say though, it's a very comfortable car. Coming out of a Peugeot 208, after driving, what, 2 hours? This car, you could feel like you can drive it for a good solid 3-4 hours without having your back in pieces. One thing I've noticed, weirdly, is they must have changed the indicators for the 2018 model. Usually with the BMW indicators, when you push it down, it stays in its fixed position. But with this, it goes all the way down. It's like a normal indicator. So they must have listened to all them complaints. Oh wow, it's silent. Even in like, what, comfort mode, it picks up the torques there. Right, given the speed we're cruising right now, does it feel like the speed?
Oh no, cruising a ton. Not that I've tried.
Hey, it feels much quicker compared to the 218i, which is so weird because they are virtually the same model, just petrol, diesel is the difference. And well, technically the diesel has 1 extra cylinder, and I think that just makes the complete difference. This car has so much more torque over the petrol though. Okay, so after 3,000, there's actually not that much pickup, to be fair. I think it's the low end.
It feels quicker just in drive rather than sport gearbox. I think it does because it's not holding the revs as longer.
Yeah. So that's the in-depth tour and review around the 2018 BMW 2 Series. Overall, this is one of BMW's best sports cars, and if optioned with a manual gearbox, it would just be the icing on the cake, and my opinion on that will never change. In all fairness, I think this car suits a 4-cylinder engine more than a 3-cylinder, and that just makes me wonder what that BMW M2 is like. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.